So in this video, I'm going to show you a smarter way to manage your time and really structure your time in a way that is flexible, sustainable, and actually works with how your brain operates. We all want to get more out of our time, but just too often we fall into rigid systems that look great in theory but collapse under real world pressures. And that's why I want to introduce you to horizontal theming. It's an aspect of time theming, which is an element of time crafting, and it's a method that brings structure without suffocation and flexibility without chaos. So if you've ever struggled to stick with a system, whether it's time blocking, to-do lists, or productivity apps, you're not alone. And the reason that many of these approaches fail is that they don't account for the natural rhythms of our work or our energy. And so this isn't really just about being productive. It's about being effective without burning out. And by the end of this video, you'll have a simple, repeatable framework that helps you take command of your relationship with time. You'll leave with some resources and tactics that you can really revisit anytime you want. And this is just the beginning. I've got way more that I'm going to go into deeply, but I want to just introduce this concept to you and see where it takes you from here. So the problem with time blocking, while it's a really well-known productivity strategy, it only gets you so far. It only works up to a point. Now, at its core, time blocking is about assigning specific tasks to specific time slots in your calendar. So here, let's demonstrate that in the calendar view right now. So we're going to add some administrative time blocks, and these are times where you'll focus on administrative tasks. And then from there, we'll also add some research blocks as well, because maybe that's an element of your work week as well. And we're going to add them to these areas. And you're basically doing this, during your planning session, whether it's at the tail end of the week prior or maybe first thing Monday morning, or maybe like me, you do your planning on a Sunday. And then, of course, deep work, you're going to want to have some time for that as well, as my friend Cal Newport discusses, and you want to be able to block out time for that deliberate practice, that deep work. So this is all well and good in practice, right? In theory, this looks great. You've got a plan. You know what you'll work on and when, but really what we're going to get to here is the reality of the situation. And the reality is life doesn't care about your blocks. So let's say you get a notification that shows up and it's going to kind of take you out of that deep work block in the beginning of the second half of Thursday. Well, you got to move that deep work block now all of a sudden. And then you get another notification. Maybe it's a meeting, and that's another deep work block that gets moved. And then you have to move it to another location. And then, oh, lo and behold, here's another one that happens. A client, let's say, they pop on and give you a call. All of a sudden, you've got to interrupt your administrative work and focus on that. So you're going to shave it back. That's maybe a meeting that they want to have with you or something like that. And then all of a sudden, you've got another one that pops up, this research time. And you're like, okay, well, now it's just gone. I won't have time to do it. And I'm pretty sure that the administrative time that I now put on Tuesday really eliminates the one they need in the second block on Tuesday. And here's another one that's popped up, and I'm going to move that to the end of the day now because this pinged early in the morning and I just don't have time for it. Oh, and wait, Friday afternoon, I'm not going to get a chance to do this research, so that's going to be pushed off till next week. So instead of assigning tasks to specific time slots, horizontal theme. So instead of assigning tasks to specific time slots and specific tasks at that, you'll assign themes to periods of time. So let's look at this a little bit differently. So you're not going to say at 10 a.m. I must do emails. Instead, you say mornings are for communication. So you're going broader strokes. Afternoons are for deep work. So let's go back into what the calendar could look like if you were using horizontal theming. Now, keep in mind, horizontal theming is an element of time crafting that is also known as time theming. It's a deeper level of that. So you can see what we're doing here is we're adding deep work. Let's say you're a morning person, as a horizontal theme Monday through Friday, which means that every Monday through Friday that you are giving your overarching focus to deep work. That's what this horizontal theme is for. And then maybe later in the day, you're better at research. You're not as good creatively. So you're more of an early riser. So research might be what you put in the later part of the day. By the way, if you're a night owl, you might flip these, right? But you can see they're in the same block all the way across the week. And then administrative, maybe that's the midday slump time that you can do this kind of shallow work. So that's going to happen Monday through Friday. So you could see here you've got a very, very clear path, right? You have aligned time Monday through Friday. And by the way, this can bleed over into the weekends as well. So with horizontal theming, the chaotic calendar kind of morphs into a smooth color-coded horizontal layout. But, well, wait a minute. There's going to be things that happen. I mean, you still have focus. Keep this in mind, but you'll have flexible focus. So let's take a look. So let's say because you've dedicated 4 days in a row to deep work and you've got it done at the right time early in the morning, and let's say you've blocked out that time Monday through Friday. Well, now you maybe don't need the Friday to do the deep work. Heck, maybe you don't need the Thursday to do the deep work because you're not getting interrupted as much, right? And maybe research moves up because of that. Maybe it moves up both on Thursday and Friday. These are all still horizontal themes. Anything that happens consecutively is a horizontal theme. It's when they are patchwork, like we see with time blocking, and that changes week over week where we run into issues. But what about the interruptions, the disruptions, the notifications? All right, so let's say you get one that happens at Monday. All right, well, what are you going to do with it? Well, that deep work, you can rely that you've got 2 additional days to work on deep work, plus any time that is left during that block, you can also dedicate to deep work. Look at Wednesday. You've got a notification that's popped up. Again, maybe it's a meeting, maybe it's a task you need to do that's urgent. It all of a sudden maybe has you again thinking, oh, I'm going to have to move this. And the reason that you don't have to is because you see throughout the whole course of the week that you've got 4 additional blocks of administrative work where you will have uninterrupted focus. And this could happen a few more times. Look with research, same thing. You've got the first 3 blocks that are happening Monday through Wednesday, and now all of a sudden Thursday, it's happening at that time of day. Well, maybe, oh, wait, there's another one, administrative. Well, okay, what do? Well, again, maybe you're going to move the research back to the afternoons because you're noticing that you're getting interruptions in this kind of realm of the day. And then maybe you'll move the administrative one up because administrative is a lighter type of work and you can't afford to have research interrupted. Notice we still have horizontal themes going on for most of this schedule. Thursday and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday are research. Monday through Wednesday is administrative, and deep work is Monday through Wednesday as well. Maybe research, you're just going to, go back to having it Monday through Friday in that later part of the afternoon. And then you move administrative up so it avoids, again, that possible interruption. So there is a lot more of a pattern when it comes to using horizontal theming than when you use time blocking. It is obviously a form of time blocking, but it's more structured. It is a structured flexibility, so to speak. And when you start having these disruptions, which we know will happen, you can at least trust that, hey, at this same time, during other days of the week, I will have opportunities to continue to work on this type of work. And varieties of work can fit into these areas. Research could also be review. Administrative could also be communication. Deep work could be writing. Again, you're using these broad strokes to kind of encapsulate things, which you do in time blocking as well. But the difference here is that you're aligning time and task in a far more structured way. Okay, so why does horizontal theming work better? Well, first off, it offers more flexibility and less friction. Time blocks will break when plans shift. They're not consistent either. So you can't necessarily predict when they are going to break because you're not necessarily putting them in the same spot every single week or every single day. Themes adapt. They give you structure without rigidity. They reduce decision fatigue. You don't waste energy figuring out what to do. Your theme is already setting the focus for you, and that's what this catch-up photo is all about. I use this a lot when I talk about purchasing things. There are different varieties of ketchup here. You're going to have to make a decision around what ketchup size you want. Do you like ketchup? Do you like the way it's packaged? Do you like that brand? That takes its toll on you. Every decision we make, it takes its toll. So when you have horizontal theming in place, you've already started to filter your focus and lower the amount of decision making you need to make, and that will save you energy and will allow you to remain in a state of productiveness. It works with your natural rhythms as well. It aligns your tasks with when you work best. So whether it's deep work in the morning or admin in the afternoon, or again, if you're a night owl, you'll flip those. Again, this is something that is worth keeping in mind, because while you can't manage time, you can manage things like your energy, your rhythms, you manage expectations. You can inform, your colleagues and your bosses. Hey, this is when I'm working at my best, so this is when I work on these sort of things. So again, your natural rhythms are something that you really should take into account. It simplifies task prioritization too. So instead of juggling an endless to-do list, these themes, they group similar tasks together, so they make them easier to tackle. And it allows you to do more of the things you need and want to do, as opposed to focusing on things that you ought to do, or getting again caught in that decision fatigue trap that we touched on earlier. It creates consistency without burnout as well. So time blocking can feel like a daily puzzle, right? But theming provides a stable and yet adaptable way to approach your week over week, day over day. So once you've set this up, then you can essentially see how it works. And if it continues to work, and the more you do this, the more likely you're going to get it right, or just right for you in that moment. Then all of a sudden you're not going to be doing this every Monday and kind of seeing where all of these things can fit. You've got a framework in place, and you're able to follow through with what fits into that framework. And there's less rescheduling and more doing. So when these disruptions happen, when time blocks break and plans shift, you don't have to rearrange everything. Your themes essentially guide your day. They give you the overarching focus that we're talking about here. So again, this way of aligning your tasks and your time is far better than time blocking, in as much as you can see here the friction that gets involved, the flexibility that you enjoy, the removal of decision fatigue, the natural human way that we work, the ability to prioritize better, and then the consistency without being overwhelmed or burning out in the process. And one of those not so hidden benefits that we talked about is this idea of decision fatigue. Your brain loves patterns. So the more predictable your workflow, the less effort it takes to get into a state of focus. So let's take a look at the brain here. So this is like your brain operating, at whatever level it is, right? You've got stuff coming at it, and the more that comes at it, the more you start to glitch, and all of a sudden your brain is full and it's under duress. And when you switch between unrelated tasks, your brain has to work harder to recalibrate. This is what makes multitasking so exhausting. And it's true, we can't multitask. We can switch tasks. We can tandem task even. That's about as close as we can get. And this is why it becomes so exhausting. Multitasking can be exhausting because your effort and your energy is not working in the best way it possibly can. It's not optimally working. But with theming, your brain, it gets to stay in the same mode of thinking for longer periods. So you get to avoid this. And once you start to establish, again, this idea of theming, all of a sudden there's this ability to grow and scale. And it reduces cognitive load, your decision making. While it drains mental energy, theming minimizes choices. There's a consistent context involved, so your brain isn't switching between radically different tasks, and therefore less stress and more flow. All right, so let's take a look at a week in themed time versus blocked time. So let's talk about Hal, okay? So here are some of the things that Hal's struggling with. His approach to time management looks something like this. He's constantly context switching, leading to mental fatigue and inefficiency. He is overbooking his schedule, and therefore tasks that require different types of focus are booked back to back, and he's feeling it. He feels reactive instead of proactive. He can't even be responsive, really. And he's jumping from one urgent task to another. He struggles to find flow, and his attention is scattered across multiple projects daily. So he's never really able to get clarity, and clarity affords focus, and focus is where you get to flow. So there's constant friction happening for him. He frequently runs out of time for deep work and high priority projects. He's the guy that's in that time blocking slide I showed you earlier. He's the guy that's moving deep work and casting it off to the next week and the next week and the next week, as opposed to dedicating time to it so that he can actually get that stuff done and focus on those high priority projects. And then he ends each day feeling drained and unaccomplished. He's been busy all day, air quotes, but he's just not been as productive as he could be. As for Jessica, well, Jessica, she groups similar tasks together. She's reducing mental load and improving focus, and she's doing this through the use of horizontal theming. She has clear boundaries for when certain types of work get done, and that reduces decision fatigue, which of course keeps her energy at a level that allows her to keep doing some really good work. She feels in control of her time. She knows each day has a structured focus because of the way she set things up. She did the front end work, and the front end work is really, really important. And horizontal theming is a way to do that. She works in a rhythm. She's making transitions between tasks that is therefore smoother and more intentional. And I'm a big believer in productivity being the active partnership between intention and attention. And rhythm plays a role in that. She finishes high-value work more efficiently, and she frees up time for deep thinking. So there is white space for that. She's not just focused on time, she's focused on space, and it's working for her. And finally, she ends her day with this sense of accomplishment. She knows she's worked on what mattered most. So she's adopted the idea of horizontal theming. And this is, yes, Hal and Jessica are people who are representative of people I've worked with that have adopted horizontal theming. And they may have been using time blocking to a degree. They may not have been using it at all or in a haphazard way. You got to be more like Jessica. So are you ready to make the shift? Well, if you are, I want to share with you a workshop that I've created that I'd love for you to be part of. It's called The Rhythm of Your Day, a horizontal theming workshop. And, well, frankly, here's what you'll get. You want to unlock the rhythm of your day. You'll learn how to master horizontal theming. You'll learn how to structure your day with themes instead of rigid time blocks. There's exclusive additional resources as well, so you'll gain access to templates that can help you, guides, and practical tools. There's going to be a workshop recording as well, so if you can't make it live, you can rewatch it anytime at your own pace. That's going to lead to that mastery. There's going to be a live Q&A session, so you'll get personalized answers to your biggest time management questions. And in addition to that, there's proven strategies for flow. You'll discover how to align your energy, which is something that we definitely can use to our advantage when it comes to cultivating a state of productiveness with the right tasks. Now, there's one more thing. There is limited time pricing on this. So if you enroll now for just $25 before the price doubles after the workshop, so you want to be able to do this. You want to enroll now for $25 US before the price doubles after the workshop. So if you're ready, sign up now. Use the link that I've shared in previous slide, or just take a photo of this QR code. There's also a link in the description. And it's just $25 until March 18th, 2025. That's when the workshop is happening. You get more details when you click on the link, and there's details in the description as well. I'd love to see you there. So thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. I'll see you later.